Hi friends, Mindy here. Welcome back to another full deck challenge card. This is card number 2. The prompts for this day are gold, stencil, and texture paste, black splatter, and butterfly. So I'm getting started here with just some collage on my card. I am using collage medium, distress collage medium, and some book text and just different kinds of papers. If you are new to this series, this is not original to me. I'm following along with Shauna's prompts. She is Shinuki Art here on YouTube. So I will link her below. There's even like a Facebook group and anything, all that. So you can get all that information from her YouTube channel. If you're not already following her, she's incredibly talented. So what you see me here doing here, I've added some, had some book page, and then I added some music paper, and then I just had some scraps that were just kind of sitting on my desk, kind of in this neutral color palette, and now I'm just kind of tearing this so I had a rough edge instead of like a real straight edge. And again, just gluing everything down. I'm using this collage medium because it dries really fast. This is some old ledger paper. It's like a scrap of ledger paper that I have been hoarding, so I'm going to use every little last scrap of that, and then added a little bit more music paper up there at the top just to kind of balance everything out here. And then I go over the entire top of the card with that collage medium as well, and then I will just dry that really well with my heat tool, and then I'll go around and trim off all of the excess that's sticking over the edge of my card. You could tear that if you wanted to have a rough edge on it. I went ahead and just used my scissors this time. And now I have some Dina Wakley gesso, and I'm going to use the back of a palette knife just to kind of scrape this along. There's a lot of different textures and stuff from the collage medium and from the different papers and things, and so I'm just using the back of the palette knife, and it just kind of catches different places. It's just just gives a different look when you add it on here, making sure to get some kind of around the edges. I didn't want to just do a general like wash over the entire card. I wanted to kind of still have some of the tones of the paper that was on there. So just going around and adding all of that, and then I will dry that really well. And now I'm coming in with some Tim Holtz Distress Paint. I think this was Broken China. I think that's right. And just applying it the same way with the back of the palette knife just to get a little bit of color on there. I didn't want to add too much. And then I'm kind of going with the side of my palette knife here just to make some lines and different marks on the background, just trying to make it a little bit more interesting. And then I end up actually feeling like it was just a little bit too heavy, so I came back in with a baby wipe, you'll see here in a second, and just kind of dab up some of it. Just it got kind of, these cards are really small, so a little bit goes a long way. So anyway, another prompt in this for this challenge is gold, and so I'm going to be using Tim Holtz Foundry Wax. I wanted to put this on all the things. I love this stuff so much. So this is a new product, and so whenever you're using this Foundry Wax, there's a couple things important to note. One is, as soon as you have, put it out on your little mat or whatever, you want to recap it because it will dry out if you don't. And then I'm just applying this with my finger, but you kind of have to work fast. It does not have a lot of open time, so it will kind of go from really liquid, and then it starts getting creamier and thicker, and then it gets to where, and then it just dries out. The whole thing, it's fascinating stuff, honestly. So then I just added it in a couple little places here in the middle of the card, and you can see this point it was already drying up. So I just heat that with my heat tool, and it's kind of the same way that you would do embossing powder, just works a lot faster. So you can see it just go straight to being this beautiful shiny gold around the edge. And I'm just kind of making sure everything is dry, and my card was a little bit hot, so I was just kind of trying to flatten it out a little bit. And then another one of the prompts is black splatter, and so I'm using some black gesso also from Dina Wakley, just a little bit, and I watered it down, and I'm using my fan brush to add the stencil or the splatters. And I just got a paper towel out to try to kind of create a little tint here, because this little fan brush just likes to get splatters everywhere, which is why my my desk looks like it does. I really need to probably just go with something else. Anyway, I have these butterflies that were actually part of your Creative Studio kit several months ago, and I just kind of felt like they were too big and kind of heavy, and so I pulled out this one from Tim Holtz, and I'm trying to decide how I want to put this on here. And it's at this point when I realized that there was still a prompt that I did not do. And so I pulled out my stencil, and at this point, like, I thought the background was kind of finished, and so now I'm having to add something over the top of it. So I decided to use Crackle texture paste. This is a Distress product as well. But the problem is my card is already so textured and, you know, just kind of a little bit warped from just like being heated and that kind of stuff, that you can see I do not get a super clean impression. It's okay, because I used Crackled paste on purpose because I knew that this background, you know, might be a little bit difficult to actually get a good impression. So with any texture paste, you want to make sure you wash off your stuff immediately. And then with texture paste, you have to let it sit and dry. So I just set that up to the side, and I went and did something else. I don't remember how long it took for this to actually dry. Probably a little bit longer than it needed to because I applied it kind of thick. So and I'm just going around with some archival ink in black. I didn't want to cover up the gold, but I just felt like it needed a little bit more black because a lot of the splatters got covered up with that texture paste. So I went to add this butterfly, and I'm trying to decide kind of how I want to glue it down. You could use like a liquid adhesive if you kind of spread it around on the back, like a glossy accents or Fabri-Tac or something like that. If you spread it around, you could even use collage medium. As long as you kind of spread it around, you won't be able to see it through the acetate. But I decided to just use my tiny attacher. Just seemed like the easy way to go. So I'm just going to pull that out, and I'm going to staple like right along the little body of the butterfly. And then I felt like at this point, it just needed something in that bottom right-hand corner. So I pulled out my Dymo label maker, and I just typed out the word free, and now I'm just going to stick this down here. Now technically these are adhesive on the back, but I'm adhering this right over all that texture paste. So I went ahead and just kind of stapled along the right side as well, just to make sure it stays nice and stuck. And that's basically my card. I'm going to I'll pull it up to the camera so you can see just a little bit how that Crackle texture paste ended up looking. So anyway, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. That just helps other people find my channel. And until next time, bye.